tinfoil hat. Oh, what the fuck are you guys even talking about?
Global controls will have to be imposed, and a world governing body will be created to enforce them.
Welcome to Tinfoil Hat. We go deep, homeboy. Aaron, open your mind. Drink from the fountain of knowledge. There's lizard people everywhere. That's some interdimensional shit. Wake up, Aaron.
This is only the beginning.
Dude, you just blew my mind.
Are you ready to get your mind blown?
William, I'm going to ask you a question.
Okay.
Do you buy into this theory that some of these fires that in LA are about hiding tunnels and evidence for crazy shit that happens in LA? This kind of
is that at the Getty? Is that what you're talking about?
all over the place. You know, because again, we've talked about Harry, the guy who owned Harry Morton. The young man, he was
I remember.
he owned the Hard Rock at its heyday during its glory days, and then he owned Ping Taco on Sunset. And like a week before his death, he talked about how there were tunnels under Sunset that connected anything, and then a week later, he's dead.
Right, remember
what
that.
are your thoughts on that?
You know, I'm pretty sure there's tunnels under Playboy, so like the Playboy Mansion in that area. I think that's kind of confirmed. I think that's pretty good. So whether I know that there's an underground under the Getty Museum, at least the one that's kind of over by Brentwood. So whether there's like something to disguise that, I don't know. But the Getty family is whacked. Like I've done some research into them, and like literally J. Paul Getty Jr. was one of the beneficiaries of Kenneth Anger. Like he would pay his tickets to go to Europe just for wholesale. So the Getty family is very curious. So that may be the tunnel story is the cover for like how strange John Paul Getty was, the senior guy. He was like on par with like I mean, there's rumors about that guy. I don't know if you've heard the crazy days and nights rumors about Getty Senior, where he had like a whole harem of women from the Philippines. You ever hear that story?
I wouldn't doubt it. I wouldn't doubt it. Yeah, I mean, like, that's what these rich guys like. They, you know, like the whole thing about the Getty. We had that one guest on who was talking about how the basement of the Getty was full of children. And right after that story comes out, bang, all of a sudden there's a huge fire there.
Yeah, no. Read the story in Crazy Days and Nights about Getty Sr. They said they wasted all of his kind of like harem. Like they got too dicey. They didn't want him to live, so they just killed him off. I don't know if it's true or not.
Well, you know, they're one like what, the three families. I think there's four families. I can't remember, but it's the Gettys, the Browns, the Pelosi's, and then there's one more family that they say run California for the last 100 and something years. And
yeah, I think that's right. I mean, Newsom owes his whole life to the Gettys. He was in business with one of the Getty offspring. I think it was Balthazar or one of the other ones, Balthazar's brother. But they owned a place. When I was in San Francisco in the 90s, it was called Plump Jack, and it was in a place of San Francisco called the Cow Hollow, which is kind of off of the marina. So it's kind of a nice area. But that's where Newsom was doing coke and drinking all the time. Like his dad was a lawyer, and he went to St. Ignatius. So he was connected. I don't think he got his job on talent.
No, I mean, and the data that they did over time showed that he is a psychopathic liar. And that he has no problems with staring you right in the eye and lying to you. I mean, dude, there's no better video of him going, I'm on the phone with the president. She's like, I hear? He's like, I can't get through. It's just like, there you go, man.
Yeah.
Lied right.
Well, maybe it's my wife. I don't know, you know. Yeah, it's total baloney.
Yeah, it's total baloney, dude.
I know somebody who knew him, and like, he was a supercilious rich boy monster. The Olympic Club, which is like one of the bigger clubs. It's literally right next to the Bohemian Club in San Francisco. A lot of people don't know about it, but he was part of that kind of crew.
So, you know, him and Justin Trudeau are the same guy.
Yeah, I think you're right.
They're the exact same guy. They're this charismatic, you know, good looking, you know, male liberal that makes progressive females' panties drop.
And slit your throat to get ahead. Like,
Yeah, I mean, dude, it's just like you will always get progressive women to vote for the good-looking white knight every time. And it does not matter what they've done or how bad they've destroyed the city or your country or your state or your province. They're going to vote for him because these women tend to work in corporate environments where you're almost at gunpoint, forced to have groupthink. And if you don't have groupthink, you never get promoted. And you got to vote for it. I mean, like, people, I have friends of mine who are always like, we got to get rid of the electoral system. I go, then you're just going to have Canada. Because all Canada is Toronto votes for who's the leader. And they shouldn't even have voting anywhere else. It should just be Toronto. Who does Toronto want to be the president? That's the president. It's a giant metropolis of groupthink.
Yeah, it's scary. California's a stolen state. Like, they took, I mean, they've been stealing elections here probably 20, 25 years.
Without a doubt.
Yeah. I mean, they've stolen hundreds of billions of dollars. So hundreds of billions of dollars is missing. Nobody wants to talk about it because it's a very easy number to say because for this lame kind of speed train they're supposed to build between LA and San Francisco, there's 125 billion missing. And then you throw in the 24 billion for the homeless, which has not been solved. That's 150 billion right off the top.
Like, what's
these are billions. This isn't millions.
No, you're
it's
right.
Crazy.
And here's the whole thing. If you're giving $24 billion to people that if they actually do what you're asking them to do, they're out of a job. So why would they solve it? It's never going to happen. Ever. Ever. And that's just the way it is. And like billions and billions. And whatever you think this Doge Department of Government Efficiency is, and, there's a lot of people are saying we're ushering in the Pelletier mafia, the PayPal mafia. And I'm not saying you're wrong at all. You're probably 100% correct. But it's like they can get away with what they're doing because they're showing us, look at all this fraud. So more people are focused on the fraud than what's the next shoe that drops. And I get it. And like the fact that someone put out a video that was so interesting. It was like this woman going, I was in charge of research to see how we could safely get the data for safely for the amount of genders and non-binary people. And you're like, that is the greatest example of the waste of USA aid right there. So I think it's...
I literally just downloaded that video while we were...
It's so hilarious, right?
I saw someone kind of trying to defend Sesame Street in Iraq.
So, yeah.
Yeah, they were like...
what was the defense of that?
Huh?
How do you defend that?
There's kids in Iraq.
They're not our kids. To be fair,
they have to promote
we did break that. We did break that in Iraq. I could see defending that on the basis that we wrecked that country. So maybe we have some obligation. But Sesame Street, maybe build a hospital. You know what I mean? You're going to do something there.
Or give them jobs.
Yeah, I mean, you can work in a hospital.
Do something tangible. Can you give me the opportunity to share, please?
Absolutely, yeah.
We will. We do that on the show. We give guests opportunity to share.
I was just going to show you this video. We can watch it.
Okay.
It's crazy.
It's so funny, dude.
I know.
It's such a funny...
It's not even believable. Like, I think Elon Musk, I got it from Elon Musk. He said, we're parody and reality. You can't tell the difference or something like that. It's true.
There we go.
Okay, there we go. Got it.
National Cancer Institute funded study was terminated. I never received a written letter, but I was told to stop work immediately and that no more research expenditures would be allowed. My study to explore how to safely collect sexual orientation and gender identity in cancer care practices was in response to the American Society of Clinical Oncology, the American Medical Association, the U.S. Preventative Services Task Force, and many other national professional standard-setting bodies that recognize that we need better data to create better clinical guidelines for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, and intersex people.
Intersex, what's that?
Think about that. Stop it. That's it. She is saying that we need to do research into queer, non-binary, trans cancer research.
You don't agree, Sam?
You don't think they get cancer, Sam?
Well, I mean, do they get a special kind of
Yeah,
cancer?
different cancer,
Is it
that's the thing.
different cancer? Is it non-binary queer cancer?
Intersex cancer.
Is it intersex cancer? It's crazy. He is William Ramsey. He has a great podcast called William Ramsey Investigates. William, welcome back.
Thanks for having me. Glad to be with you.
William, for those who don't remember your past wonderful appearances, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and where our listeners can find you?
Yeah, I have a podcast. It's in the top 0.5%. I guess that's in the top 30,000 podcasts in the world. I have over 1,300 episodes. You can find it on iTunes or Spotify or wherever you find your podcasts. I have 5 documentaries you can find on Patreon and 5 books that you can find on Amazon.
You are always cranking out content, and that's why we appreciate you. I always love your tweets, and I try to share them as much as possible. Guys, again, if you want to see me live, I'm going to be in Phoenix, Arizona next weekend, Louisville, Kentucky, Fort Wayne, Indiana. Then I just added Detroit, Michigan. I keep getting asked for Detroit. I'm going to the Comedy Bar. It's a new comedy club there. Tacoma, and then Tacoma by myself. Go to samtripoli.com. Grab those tickets right there. And a new T-shirt is available. Just so you know, new T-shirt. That's right. Go to T-shirts. Look at that. New T-shirt. Here we go. Drum roll, please. Fuck Zuck is now
great, dude.
available. You can get the Fuck Zuck
That's
T-shirt.
so good, bro.
Because he keeps shadow banning me. William, you know, a while ago, you always have a green light to come on the show. You're one of the people that we always enjoy having on the show, and hopefully you won't be like some of the other crazy people we gave that green light to that went nuts on the show. I know you won't. Right, Dr. Shiva and Bishop Larry Gators. But I love all your stuff. So Mark hit me up, and he was like, yeah, William Ramsey has a crazy, not that you're crazy, but a crazy story he kind of wants to talk about, and that is the smiley face killer in Austin and how it's connected to the comedy scene. And I was like, okay, here we go. Bang, bang, pal. Let's hear what you got. So would you like to talk about that?
Well, I mean, there's been a spate. I've studied the smiley face killers, or what's known as the smiley face killers, since like 2016. So it's been almost 8 years. And it used to be in just kind of college towns. But recently, there's been some recent kind of deaths in other big cities that didn't used to have the kind of phenomenon of young men disappearing to be found in water later. And recently, probably within the last couple of years in Austin, there's been like 15 cases. And in Chicago as well, which are unusual. It used to be kind of the epicenter where like Boston, New York City, maybe a little bit in San Francisco. But upon like review and looking at this thing, I think it has to be seen, this kind of phenomenon has to be seen in the larger kind of corruption that's taking place in Democrat-run urban centers, because they're covering up a lot of stuff. But in this kind of what's been happening in Austin is that some of these guys are associated with comedy clubs and entertainment. So there's been a number of deaths. One was not a death. It was a guy who got lucky. His name was Christian Pugh, and he was at a comedy event it was Tom Segura's comedy.
Oh my God! Oh my God! Really?
Yeah, he lost track of time. He was found near Lady Bird Lake, right? This is the main lake that's in Austin for people who don't know the topography of Austin. But he was found near kind of in the weeds there 60 hours later. And I do have a video of him telling Tom Segura about how he was possibly a victim. For some reason he survived. He had very serious injuries, by the way. He had, I think he was in the hospital for almost a week. He had fractures and things like that. So somebody beat him up really bad. I assumed that he was going to die. His name is Christian Pugh, P-U-G-H.
My God!
Yeah, that was one of them. There was another recent case that happened in Austin where a body was found. Literally, if you went directly south from the city center, or city hall of Austin into Lady Bird Lake, there was a body found. And the initial report said it was a heart attack. And then that changed from a heart attack to to a shooting or suicide. And I know there's people who are around who go to these sites and take pictures. And it clearly wasn't a heart attack. It was a young man from Israel. It was an Israeli national. He was 25. And he was in town to go to comedy clubs. That was his thing.
That's the guy that was missing, right?
Oh yeah, the images weren't consistent with a heart attack, right?
This is Christian Pugh right here.
So is this the guy that survived Tom Segura's show?
He was at Tom Segura's show. There's no question about it, and he admits it. So there's a video. I wish I could share it with you, but
he went missing after Tom Segura. Like literally, like it was Tom Segura, and then
blackout, then found near Lady Bird Lake.
Dude, what if
60
Tom
hours
Segura?
later.
What if he's
3 days later
on Garth Brooks? What if it's actually Tom?
Oh, well, we haven't got there yet. We haven't got there.
Do not say that.
So
inside of your mom's house.
Oh, dude.
So those are two cases of the many, and they call it the Rainy Street Ripper. A lot of these people who analyze these cases, they're right, but they may not see the bigger picture of this phenomenon on a national or global level. But there is like 15 cases, and a lot of these all fit the same kind of MO. Young guy out, maybe acting strange, not actually in character, like maybe 2 drinks and then starts acting strange. Anyway, Tom Segura and his wife run your Family Hour. I can't remember the name of the podcast, but they
we know, yeah.
Your mom's house, that podcast?
Your mom's house, yeah. Your mom's
Christina
house,
Pajitsky, yeah.
Oh my God, these are my friends.
Well, I published my most recent book is about the Smiley Face Killers. It's like way too long. It's 400 pages, but I have a section in there because what happened last year, and it actually kind of really blew up my social media. I usually don't go viral or anything like that, but this case was anyway, I'm going too far. These two, Segura and his wife, have been talking about Garth Brooks and really kind of making it almost like a semi-joke about him being involved in nefarious activity. And it's been kind of a joke, and they've played videos about Garth Brooks. And
they call him a serial killer. Like, they call him a serial killer. He thinks he looks weird, that he's creepy on camera, and then he
and then a bunch of stuff has come out about Garth Brooks.
Where are the bodies? That's what they say.
Yeah, they say
where's the bodies? Where are the bodies?
No, you have no idea. If you love just for entertainment, go to Garth Brooks' page and go look at the comments. It's all your mom's house fans harassing this motherfucker. I'm blocked because I used to say, "Where are the bodies, Jeans?" Or I used to participate. That's why I know all about this, but I don't know if it actually is coming true.
Oh my God, this is crazy.
The videos that they've compiled are weird. Like, I've looked at them. So the ones that Segura and his wife of Garth Brooks are very strange. And there was the Springfield 3, which is Springfield, Missouri, which Branson is like a kind of a center, almost like Nashville.
Yeah.
It's a place, country music, and maybe middle America people go for entertainment. And Garth Brooks was there, and 3 women disappeared. And there's been others. He said weird things, like, I would kill them. He's literally on video saying, oh, I'd just kill them.
Who? Garth Brooks?
Yes.
Whoa!
Yeah, so, and this is Segura and his wife. They found that. I'm just repeating what they found.
Yeah, for sure.
This isn't me. I'm just reporting what they saw.
We love
He also had this kind of strange time in his career, Garth Brooks did, where he took on a alternate kind of emo person who sang pop.
So weird.
So he kind of left. Pardon me?
So weird. Yeah, Chris Gaines.
Yeah,
right?
so
wasn't it Chris Gaines, something like that?
Chris Gaines was his name, and almost like it was like a duality thing, almost like a split brain, a lot of black and white. And there's sequences in the Chris Gaines' most popular video on YouTube where he's sitting on the Star of Ishtar, right? So you see the Star of Ishtar and Eyes Wide Shut and stuff like that.
Really?
And these weird hand signs like thumbs and all that stuff. Maybe you could find that video of him, but he.
Because this is Chris. This is the person we're talking about, right?
Correct. That's the new.
It's Garth Brooks. Yeah, it's just him dressed as a different person. Yeah.
You see that? It looks like that's supposed to be Garth Brooks.
It is Garth.
I know
that is
Garth Brooks. Crazy, but I could have never noticed if you wouldn't have told me. He plays it pretty well. I gotta say,
the music guy.
If you scroll down, maybe you could show his video, his more famous video. But he's done. Oh, there's another one. That picture. If you scroll up just a little to the left, this is like the dual side, the black and the white, right? That's kind of Masonic. That's him right there in this weird black and white skin tight outfit.
Yeah, there, right there. The second one.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, look at that.
Oh, that is weird. It's like a mime or something, huh?
But if you watch his video, like I said, the Star of Ishtar, very prominent. Like I've
What's the song?
done so much research into the occult, like it's obvious to me.
Can you pull that? Actually, we don't have to have the sound. But I think it's just something we could see. What's the song? Do you know?
I don't remember his most famous. It's like
It's just his like number whatever.
number one song. I wish I could remember
Let me
it, but
ask you
anyway.
What a
I've had, like-
weird character. Look at that. Like, what are you doing? Like you're like Garth Brooks with a Chris Angel type vibe.
Lost in You. Is that it?
I think that's it. Yeah. I think
Could
that's
you
what-
pull
I'll
that,
s-
actually?
If I see it, I'll know it. Like,
Lost in You.
yeah, Lost in You. Watch Lost in You, and you'll see him like on top of the Star of Ishtar, almost right at the beginning. He's like literally sitting there in this black kind of emo creature.
Oh yeah. We don't have sound on this. But.
Anyway, so they've kind of followed this guy, and he I've talked to other country people. That's the Star of Ishtar he's sitting on.
Oh
And-
yeah,
Oh yeah, look at that.
And that's
So-
supposed to be country, like country.
And
No,
it's actually kind of a
he was kind of doing
modified.
pop.
that's supposed to be a country singer doing that.
Yeah, that is a country singer.
I know,
Doing.
I'm
That's
just-
not
that's what I'm
kind of.
saying.
But
Yeah,
this
you're
whole
right.
act was like a pop act.
Like he's got many. It's like Trent Reznor meets Chris Angel
Fall Out
meets
Boy or
Creed,
something, yeah.
right? It's so weird.
And this is like prayerful, right? He puts his hands up. He's in black. He's got his hands on his heart.
He's a weird guy.
Anyway, it's weird. So they're like, the more you look into Garth Brooks, it gets weirder. Like people have said that he's kind of like the Hollywood finds somebody talented and turns them into like a product. I've heard of other country people making that statement about Garth Brooks. Like he's not some kind of like natural guy who rose up by himself. Like maybe his songs aren't his or not written by him.
interesting.
So like a cultural creation almost. like the country.
Right. Controlled op.
Yeah, kind of like like a product, not like some guy who
Yeah.
grinded out playing songs and real dirt.
What do we call that?
bars,
What do we call that, Johnny? Because we've talked about that when it came to like the Laurel Canyon studios. We called them what? They were nepo babies, but they were like.
I don't think he's a nepo.
Is it controlled op? I mean, like it's not opposition, but
It's like culture creation
Yeah.
or somebody who's culture
it's
creation.
just
Like the
really-
Beatles are like really a good example of that.
Easy.
you're hitting all of our things we love here.
You know, it's weird though, because in country music, there's kind of a tradition of not playing your own songs, just being the troubadour, the traveling cowboy who sings like the folk collection of songs. That's why George Strait never wrote a song. He's the biggest act in country music. He doesn't write any songs.
But what's really interesting about country is like, is it the one music genre that blatant occult Satanism isn't like
Country.
blatant?
Well,
right?
it used to be. Now
Yeah,
that you have,
yeah.
what? Beyonce at the top of the charts in country.
Yeah.
music.
Which is there anything more force than her winning best country
It's
music?
ridiculous, right? Yeah.
Nobody listen. Like who liked that?
No. Post Malone's gone country now. I mean, big time.
When you see he's post Nirvana now, he's
Yeah,
like,
I saw that. Hey, I get Nirvana on the road, man. I'm
yeah,
okay
let's
with
go,
that. Yeah.
dude. Let's go. Hey guys, real quick, I want to tell you about our good friends at Select Quote. Listen, life insurance is an important decision to make, important for your family, and there's no better place to find the best life insurance at the best price for you than Select Quote. Let me tell you about Select Quote. There are so many things in life we just never get around to, okay? Taking up that hobby, cleaning out the garage, little things that really don't make a huge difference in our lives. Yet there's one thing that most of us have probably been neglecting that can have a huge impact on our family's future. It's life insurance. And with Select Quote, getting your covered with the right policy for you is easier and more affordable than you may think.
Select Quote is one of America's leading insurance brokers with nearly 40 years of experience, helping more than 2 million customers find more than $700 billion in coverage since 1985. Other life insurance brokers offer impersonal, one-size-fits-all policies that may cost you more and cover you less, while Select Quote's licensed insurance agents work for you to tailor a life insurance policy for your individual needs in as little as 15 minutes. And have you ever worried about getting coverage with a pre-existing health condition? SelectQuote partners with carriers that provide policies for a variety of health conditions. If you have high blood pressure, that's no problem. If you have diabetes, that's fine too. Even if you have heart disease, SelectQuote partners with carriers that can cover those conditions and others. Head to selectquote.com and a licensed insurance agent will call you right away with the right policy for your life and your budget. SelectQuote. They shop, you save.
So get the right life insurance for you for less at selectquote.com/tinfoil hat. Go to selectquote.com/tinfoil hat today to get started. That's selectquote.com/tinfoil hat. We thank you for sponsoring the show. Hey guys, real quick, I want to tell you about our good friends at Sol and their new hemp-derived THC beverages. Let's go, bro. Out of the office for me and you, let me tell you a little bit about Sol. Guys, it's 2025. Are you still going to the store to get your THC products? This podcast is sponsored by Sol. Sol's new out-of-office gummies are the perfect microdose with hemp-derived THC and CBD to give any day that chill on the beach vibe, okay? We know our boy, XG, loves THC gummies, don't you, buddy?
I love them. Out of the office, in the studio, out of the studio. It's a must.
It really is. And did you know you can buy new hemp-derived THC products in all 50 states? Because of the 2008 Farm Bill, hemp-derived THC is now legal and accessible nationwide. I can't believe I didn't know this until today. Thank you, Sol. It's amazing. The out-of-the-office gummies help you get that much-needed me time at the end of the day or during the day. They're convenient and they're delicious. Out-of-the-office gummies give you that warm, fuzzy, euphoric microdose feeling without sending you to the moon. You can go for a jog, watch your favorite TV show, or just head out to the party. Whatever floats your boat, okay? We love it, man. Sol was founded 5 years ago by brother and sister duo Mike and Angie Lee. Mike is a former world-ranked professional boxer, and Angie is an author and professional speaker who had the desire to create natural alternatives to medications that tackle problems like they deal with themselves, like sleeplessness, anxiety, focus, and pain. And Sol's products are grown right here in the U.S., organically farmed, gluten-free. Let's go. So here's what we need you to do. So if you want to feel the best, head to getsol.com and use the code TINFOILHAT for 30% off your order. That's 30% off. Use the code TINFOILHAT. One more time, getsol.com and use the code TINFOILHAT for 30% off. GETSOUL.com. And we want to thank Sol for sponsoring this show. Yeah, I mean, like, so the Seguros, who we love.
So Segura and his wife, Christian Pugh's at a Segura concert. This other guy from Israel who's found literally in his underwear in front of City Hall in Austin, amongst the other 18, bodies that have been found there. Like, I have a whole chapter on Austin. I call it like the Austin Rampage, because there were so many. Let me see if I can find a list because it made the national media. So there was Julio Santos in 2015, Randy Lexville 2018, which I did a lot of work on that one. Martin Gutierrez 2018, Pugh was 2019. We just talked about him. Axtel was 2023. Jason John 2023. Jonathan Honey 2023. John Christopher Hayes Clark 2023 April. And then, so those are kind of the ones that have been happening fairly recently. This other, like, I finished this book and then this other guy from Israel passed away, unfortunately. I was in contact with his family. A lot of the families reach out to me because I know so much kind of about these cases and stuff like that. So I was talking to his family, unfortunately. So Austin, the country, and then this whole event happens in Nashville, Tennessee. The disappearance of, his name was Riley Strain, was his name. Young guy from Springfield, of all places. I mentioned Springfield earlier. But he went out, I think it was around Valentine's Day of 2024. So last year, let me see when he went missing. Yeah, something like that. And it made the international news. And I was posting a lot because it fit the kind of standard smiley face killer's profile. Young guy, out at a bar, gets separated from his friends, and literally disappears off the face of the earth. There was a massive search for him in the water involving like divers, undersea divers, and all this. Where's his body? They never found his phone. And then he magically kind of pops up 2 weeks later downriver without his pants on. And he's at this place. Nashville has become kind of a go-to spot, much like Branson. And a lot of those places have very famous country music acts who own their bars there. So this guy, Riley Strain, was at one guy, Luke Bryan's bar, if you know Luke Bryan. But also this guy, there's other famous people there who, own bars as well. So he was at this Luke Bryan bar, disappears. But then, like, there was this who's in town of all people who's in town when Riley Strain disappears? Garth Brooks.
Whoa.
Uh-oh. He's playing a show there. Yeah.
Whoa.
And Garth Brooks has a bar there, too, as well.
Uh-oh.
So there's weird ties. It's very, like, what's going on? And
what is going on?
There is like this psychic who I follow. Somebody sent me her stuff. Her name is Sloan Bella.
Yeah, she's been on the show.
Oh, really? I didn't know
We should have her back on.
Yeah, you should talk to her about this because she posted something and took it offline because it was a little too spicy. I guess is the way to put it. Anyway, I followed her stuff because I think it was pretty remarkable. I'm not like a person who uses psychics or something like that, but her conclusions about the smiley face killings phenomenon in Riley Strain, I thought just had this real ring of truth to it. But so I wrote a whole chapter about her, and she called it the legions. She thinks that there's like groups of people stalking people, and it's gone on. I just got sent something yesterday about the druggings, mass druggings that are taking place in Nashville, Tennessee, where like almost every night somebody's getting drugged, much like Christian Pugh.
Oh, God.
And I think that Riley Strain, out of character, he was an experienced drinker. He was a frat member of a fraternity. And so kind of like, he actually kind of disappeared kind of early in the night. I think it was like 9 o'clock, which for a college age person is pretty early. But Sloan Bell is very cool. She did a great job on the West Memphis 3. Like I watched her West Memphis 3 stuff and I went, wow.
What was her theory? I know your theory, and
it's the same kind of the same thing. It was like an occult ritual, and these guys are not telling the truth. So not a lot of people would be willing to take the position she did because it's not a popular position.
Yeah, people resist it left and right. They really get upset.
There's a lot of pressure. There's a lot of social pressure. A lot of Hollywood people say they're innocent. And it's kind of like what happens in PR where, you create this kind of mass formation of everybody saying the same thing. So if you say something different, it's perceived to be you're, out of your mind or you're, out on your own. I think it's all set up intentionally. Like the West Memphis 3 paid for who came after me, very sophisticated PR guy from New York City. Like, why would you need a sophisticated PR guy, experienced PR guy who's done like major corporations as well? Which is telling. But Sloan Bella, I didn't know that you had her on. I wasn't aware of that. I know you had Atwill. But anyway, one of the things, she got this thing, if I can just quote her, she says, the first thing I got with Riley, anyway, I kind of was trying to get there, but Riley, when I was posting on Riley Strain, that was like the biggest spike in my social media. Like I had like millions of people following because it was such big news. But like many of these other things, they didn't perceive the Riley Strain events like within the context of the larger smiley face killers phenomenon. But anyway, if I can quote Sloan Bell, she says, the first thing I got with Riley, which was really super strong, I heard these words straight up like from behind me in the room. There are legions of them is what I heard. So when I was asking about what happened to Riley, I heard this, there are legions of them everywhere. And so she thinks that there's like drugs kept behind the bar. This is all kind of consistent with conclusions people have deduced about smiley face killers. There's drugs that they're giving to certain people for whatever reason, And I think Riley Strain was only in the bar for like 30 minutes before he walked out or got kicked out. There's video of him too. Like, it's very well kept. It gets really weird because when I was researching that, there was this woman nobody knew who kind of injected herself into the Riley Strain disappearance, and she was talking to the chief of police, who came to a really weird conclusion very fast that he accidentally drowned. She was holding up her cell phone, and the cell phone case had the smiley face symbol on it. Like,
yep, yep. And she was like, when they were doing a police interview, I think we talked about that last time. Yeah, dude,
okay, I don't remember.
That's crazy to me.
Yeah. So yeah, no, it gets really crazy. I mean, so this was kind of like the kind of attempt. I mean, to kind of summarize all that stuff, it's the SFK events kind of tied into comedy in Austin, and then this country music scene in Nashville.
So your theory is that it's like something's going on in these Democratic cities.
I think it goes all the way up into the kind of legal structure and into the medical examiners, yes. And I think it's total corruption. And I think they're I think they actually, this one example of this Israeli kid in Austin, in my opinion, they are lying. The authorities are lying, and they're actually deceiving the public about the severity and seriousness of this event. And I think that's part of kind of almost the totalitarian control. It sounds ridiculous, but almost the totalitarian control of these urban areas through the Democratic Party. I think they all kind of move in lockstep, and that's why all these urban cities in the United States are huge kleptocracies and almost third world countries now.
You know, I go to Austin often, looking at buying a house just outside of Austin. It's like unbelievable how, like, compared to LA, you could get something extremely nice. And, you know, but man, when you go down to 6th Street, it is a glorious shit show. Like, it's the best and the worst all at the same time. You're like, the energy's jumping, there's young, good-looking people all over the place, but it's also complete chaos. And, like, the level of, like, it's the spectrum of humanity. 6th Street. Like, on one hand, you have, like, pretty gorgeous co-eds who are just shiny object, full of hope. And then you have, by far, the weirdest, craziest looking homeless people you will ever see in your life. Like they escaped from some laboratory. Like I'm not even kidding, man. It looks like some sci-fi alien homeless shit. You're like, what is your story? And you know it's not good. You know the story's not good. Whatever that story is, it's not good. And that is 6th Street.
No, and then let's not forget, men full of testosterone, drunk. There's so many fights. There's just chaos. Like Sam said, it's just full of fucking chaos. And you got cops on horses telling people move because after 2 or 3, you have to get the fuck out of there.
Half the security's jujitsu. There's Marines.
Yeah,
there's cops on horses.
Mexicans.
Lots of Mexicans. Some might say too many. No, but the point is, it's like that's a recipe for absolute chaos.
It's chaos, and I think a lot of these druggings happen within that environment. Like, there were 3 recent cases in Brooklyn, New York, at like rave areas, like rave bars. They literally happened all in sequence within a month of each other. So it happens in this kind of deaths happen in those environments, and you kind of have to think, like, what happened to the people who got drugged and survived, or didn't get to tell their whole story. So I do think that it was the Brooklyn Mirage was the name of the bar that like 3 guys ended up in water in a month.
In a month, and I bet you people still going to that bar.
Yeah, like, all the time. It's huge. It's like a huge nighttime. It's in like the, manufacturing district. It's in one of those type of environments. So you have all kinds of people wandering around. If you look into like Jeffrey Dahmer, that's what he did. He went to these gay bars and drugged people.
I mean, I've heard of bartenders. Sketchy. I've heard of bartenders be like, "Oh, that guy, he's roofied people before." But you can be a bartender. "Oh, I'm gonna roofie this guy. Keep an eye on him." You see him walk out. You're shit. Yeah, you can literally plan the whole thing when people are that wasted.
So is it like twinks that they're going after? Or is it just young dudes, or like what are they going after?
I think it's a gay thing. I think at least in the smiley face killers, if you're gonna like narrow it down to like a group, it's definitely college age men. I think that's what they find attractive, and I think like Sloan Bella says, they're making snuff films with these guys. Like they film them, and I think that's real. I think she's probably right. I think that makes sense, and it kind of ties into this one criminal case I studied. Which book was it? I think it was my last film. Was called The Family out of Adelaide. It's like the fourth largest city in Australia, where men were abducting teenagers and young men, drugging them, and then keeping them for a while, abusing them, and then discarding them. So I think it's that dark. Like that's the smiley face killer phenomenon. I think that's what happened to Riley Strain. That's why they couldn't find his body for a week or 2 weeks, is because it wasn't in the water, because they checked the water.
Oh, you're right. So, they always can't find it. They always somehow appear in the water.
It just appears.
Yeah, after and the body should be fully what is it? Decomposed from the water,
or something. Yeah. So a lot of these guys don't even have decomposition. Like there's one famous case I studied, Dakota James in Pittsburgh. He didn't have any decay in his body. He was missing for 40 days. So where was he? And all these guys have the same kind of elements. Some of them have like worms on their body, so that means they died outside the water and placed in water. So this is kind of a big trick, but it also allows them to kind of, the police and stuff, to just wrap it up and close the case. And I think that's what happened to Riley Strain. Like they don't want to look into this, because I do think it involves kind of rich, powerful people with resources are doing these kinds of crimes, and that's kind of their thing. But it is interesting. Sloan Bella says this whole thing started in Chicago with music executives, so that kind of makes sense. It ties into some of the other stories that I've heard. But it's she mentions black SUVs like Escalades, and that ties actually into the Dakota James case. I doubt she knows the details of the Dakota James case. She may, but if she doesn't, that's like a real incredible intuition, because some kind of black SUV was stalking Dakota James. And then she says that this would be actually very consistent with this other cases, the Adelaide case, The Family, is that she's saying things I bet she doesn't know, like all the research that I've done, because it's correlating almost directly with like the research I've done. But she says that their bodies were almost meticulously cleaned so that their hair was groomed and they not find water in the lungs. And sure enough, there was a report from the medical examiner that there was not water in the lungs of Riley Strain.
Jeez Louise, dude. It's just, so I think last time you were on, we talked about a whole bunch of stuff, and some of it was a smiley face killer. Like, I don't know the last time I found what the body count was, but it was a crazy number, like 12. Yeah, but I feel like, is it 4?
4, well, I think it's 300 or 400 internationally. I don't know what it is in Austin. It's probably 12 or 15.
Yeah, I think it was like an insane number, and they're very hesitant to start linking these deaths, because then it's like we got a serial killer on our hands, and everybody talks about it, and it's like this weird thing. Last night I could not sleep last night, so when I can't sleep, guess what I do? Talk to myself all night, and I can't turn my brain off. And I was thinking about, like, this thing where it's like, I love doing conspiracies. I'll do conspiracies forever. But the desire to, like, wake people up is kind of, like, gone away. Because, like, how much do you have to scream, before you realize nobody's listening? Right? Now the listeners of the show do. And because they do listen, they understand the psyops are coming. But that's the extent of it, right? Like, you find the show, you listen to the show, and you'll learn not to fall for their tricks, but I've just come to this thing that, like, humans, obviously we're mammals, and, like, how many times you watch Animal Planet, and you see, like, these prey just crossing this river. Every year they cross this river, and every year the crocodiles just sit there. And they're like, the crocodile's like, there's no way these motherfuckers are coming here again. We've murked them every year. There's no way they're coming again. And then all of a sudden, bang, here they are again. And they just keep doing it. And it does not matter how many of them they lose. They, every year at this time, bang, we're crossing this river. Hopefully the crocodiles will leave us alone. And the crocodiles never leave us alone. It's just the way it is, dude. They just can't come to grips with the apex predators are out there. And no matter how much you yell about it, they just don't care. Because they'd rather go on with their life. It's so weird to me. It's so weird. I mean, it's crazy. It's absolutely nuts to me how people don't care about what we're yelling about. And it's just like, I mean, there's a serial killer in Austin, and nobody seems to give a shit.
Would you say it's one for sure? Maybe a couple, maybe.
Well, the question becomes, if it's 3 guys, is it still serial killer? The answer is yes, right? If it's 3 guys, 5 guys, 10 guys.
Is it? Okay, yeah, okay.
It's a serial killer.
Yeah, okay.
Is that even a relevant distinction, right? I mean, like, they're killing people.
Someone's at a micro dosing. So
no, but I'm saying, I mean, to capture them, you can't just capture one guy and be like, we got the guy. How do you know you can't? Because they keep showing up everywhere. If it's 300-400, there's no way one guy is doing 300-400 murders.
It's got to be some of these groups that you've come on, William, and talk about, like, you know, the 9 angles or something like that. It's just, there has to be this group of people that just worship darkness.
The Garth Brooks fan club. Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't doubt it, dude. Like,
when was our last show? 2021? Is that the last time we did the show?
No. You had to be on here just not that long ago.
I'm trying to remember. When did we do our last show? Let me see. Because did we talk about the guy, Scarlet Blake?
It was November 11, 2022, I believe.
Really?
Oh, no, I'm sorry. April of last year also.
Yeah, that's
it
what
was 2022
April.
and then April of last year, yeah.
Yeah.
Did we talk about
May 1st, too, I think?
Scarlet Blake? I don't remember when that
I don't think we talked about any of that stuff.
Have you guys followed this whole transsexual murder cult type thing?
I'm going to interview a guy about it, but I'd love to hear more about, like, it's just crazy, dude. I mean,
here's the thing. This is what's interesting. So, you know, a lot of people are traveling around a lot. There's a guy named Scarlet Blake. That's not his real name. It's a transsexual name. The public the authorities in the UK never disclosed his real name, but he was caught doing a smiley face killer's crime in Oxford. And it fits all the things where he went out randomly and found a guy. His name was Jorge Carreño, and he took him to a lone, hidden place and drowned him and left him in the water. And then the family believed that he had died in a drowning, and so they just chalked it up. This guy, Scarlet Blake, went to the crime scene, took pictures, but the reason he got caught is he had another transsexual lover or whatever who lived in Austin, Texas. Mm-hmm. And this guy in Austin, Texas told the authorities in the UK that this guy committed the crime. He eventually got convicted and put in jail. I think he's in jail for a long time. But this guy, Scarlet Blake, had traveled around. So he was part of this kind of transgender underground and had been traveling to Colorado and to Austin. So was this guy involved in any other kind of crimes, or was he involved in similar crimes in Austin? And it would be like a perfect way to commit a crime, is to travel somewhere, commit a crime, and leave, right? So it kind of ties into this kind of weird transsexual murder cult who's like running around. They've killed people in California and then killed a border guard, I think, in either New Hampshire or something like that, Vermont. But I think they just arrested the lead guy who was transsexual, faked his own death, and they had kind of like a murder cult idea, like they thought about killing people and offing people and stuff like that. Really violent.
Yeah, and it gets into this whole thing where, like, we were forced at gunpoint to think trans are unicorns. And I don't hate trans. Live your life. Just stop trying to read the kids. Use the men's bathroom. Stop trying to read the kids. That's it. You can live your life. But this notion that, like, they're kind of these Zen unicorns out there. And you're like, the guy on Santa Monica Boulevard with the haunted wig doesn't seem to be Zen at all. And there seems to be, again, this gets into this USAA shit where they're like astroturfing satanic shit and making us believe it's like some kind of like spirituality. And it's like, in reality, it's like dark energy, dude. It's like really dark energy. I don't know if you've seen this, William, but you know, I'm a Christian. I think Johnny's Christian. Are you? What are you?
Catholic.
What? You're Catholic. Okay. So you're Catholic.
Sorry about that, actually.
Sorry about that. It'll get better. But they had the black lesbian from Wicked is now playing Jesus Christ.
What?
In Jesus Christ Superstar.
Oh, okay. Whatever.
What is Jesus Christ Superstar?
I mean, that's kind of a silly, kind of an a sacrilegious thing anyway. So
right, that's what everybody's saying. But still, I mean, it's just again this thing where they like Hollywood, the progressive left, always want to like try to press us at gunpoint to accept this thing that which instantly our instincts reject.
Yeah. I mean, Last Temptation of Christ. You know, I mean, they've been doing it a while. It's
And then they cry about like, oh, there's all this hate everywhere. There's so much hate. I'm like, well, it's pretty much everywhere all the time. Show me a group, I'll show you hate. I mean, people hate clowns and the Amish, right?
Who hates the Amish? I love the Amish.
Dude, people are like, fuck the Amish.
Really?
I think so. I'm sure there's somebody is. I think you're looking too deep into it, but
I love the Amish.
I mean, there's a video out there of Freddie Mercury and David Bowie singing Under Pressure a cappella.
This is so funny.
And it has like 300 dislikes on the video. Like 300 people said, fuck these guys.
And it's amazing.
And it's the most amazing video you will ever watch in your life. You will never hear better vocals in your life. 300 people said, fuck these guys. You know?
Insane.
So everybody gets it, but it's like this constant pressing, this constant pushing. And then it's like, how deep and dark does it go? You know, bringing back Christina Pajinski, she was having a debate with Tom on Your Mom's House, and they brought my name up, which was hilarious because because she was bringing up the Marcone thing with the trans wife.
Yeah, Bridget Marcone.
And Tom was basically like, who cares, I think, based on like somebody was telling me on the internet. And she was like, because they're protecting pedophiles. And he goes, who are you talking to? Sam Tripoli? And I go, yeah, probably. Good job, Christina. Because that's exactly what's happening here. At the worst, he's a pedophile. That's at the best, he's a pedophile. At the best.
Because he definitely, he was his babysitter, something like that. He used to take care of them when they were little kids.
It could get even worse. He could be Marcone's dad.
Yeah. Candace Owens goes deep. She does like our episode 5. I think she's
everyone's
like
begging her to do Michelle Obama.
Oh.
Right?
I don't think if you extrapolate that beyond Macron, a lot of these guys have sketchy backgrounds. So does Trudeau. And there's a picture of Keir Starmer with Jimmy Savile. Like, I mean, this is crazy stuff. What are these guys? These guys are all getting groomed from a very early age. Is that possible? Is that plausible? Because it sure looks like it. Like all these world leaders are like.
William, I think so. I think they get these Gates program type classes and they start to figure out who the hell is a psychopath. So like, who the hell is a conformist? Who the hell is a liar? Like, that's how they knew Gavin Newsom would be perfect. And then on top of that, he's good looking. Like, that's it. You know, it's like, I mean.
That's the system in the UK. It used to be for the empire. You know, they had this kind of private school system. And those guys were all groomed. Like Churchill, he was able to pull the trigger on killing millions of people. Like, oh, Churchill can do it. Yeah, he can bomb Dresden and starve out millions of Indians and all this stuff. Which is what he did for the empire. Like, incredible.
It's crazy.
He was there when they sacked the Boers in South Africa. Like all kinds of crazy stuff. They literally built like concentration camps for the Boers.
Guys, listen, we have a giant depopulation problem out there, and the only way to make it happen is to shoot up the club. That's right, Boner City. Get hard now. Let me tell you about an American company, Blue Chew. Listen, you got to get rock hard for the future, and the only way we can do that is Blue Chew. Blue Chew is an online service that delivers the same active ingredients as Viagra, Cialis, and Levitra, but for a fraction of the cost. The process is simple. Sign up at BlueChew.com. Consult with one of their online medical providers, and once you're approved, you will get your prescription within days. Blue Chew tablets are made in the USA, and prepared and shipped directly to your door. The best part, it's all done online. That means no visits to the doctor's office, no awkward conversations, no waiting in line at the pharmacy. Cannot stand that. Thank you, Blue Chew. You take them anytime, day or night, so you can plan ahead or be ready whenever the opportunity arises, okay? Blue Chew is for Americans. Blue Chew wants to make men rock hard. They told me, that's our mission. That's the mission, okay? They will not stop until every man is bricked up like a brick shit house, okay? Till every tent is pitched. Till every rod is raised.
Make life easier by getting harder and discover your options at BlueChew.com. And we've got a special deal for our listeners. Try your first month of Blue Chew free. Visit BlueChew.com for more details and important safety information. And we thank Blue Chew for sponsoring the podcast.
It's crazy to think they have like scouts out there in middle school looking for psychopaths. Like, oh,
100%,
perfect,
dude.
Governor.
And then there's trauma-based mind control, too, especially in the UK, for example, because those schools were super brutal. It's like another brick in the wall times 10. Like, there's all kinds of, like, sodomy and beatings and all kinds of crazy stuff.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about, Paris Hilton talked about, she went to this private school and they lit her up all the time. And then once you get them, you break them spiritually and morally, then you send her out and she's doing homemade pornos, which kind of kicks off the OnlyFans, like, genre slowly but surely, right? This, like, why do I need to work? Why do I need a pimp? Why do I need to work for a studio? I could be my own adult film star, which is, again, corrupting society.
Yeah, it's a larger societal corruption.
It really is, but you see it over and over again, and it is of my belief that pedophilia is the initiation into the highest levels of power. If you could hurt a kid, you could do anything. That's where it goes.
It's the blackmail, too. I think that's the only way to blackmail anybody anymore. Gay isn't enough, or like financial crimes or something doesn't get you able to manipulate people. It's through Epstein networks and things like that.
But, I mean, take a look at this. Like, up until recently, Blake Lively has successfully destroyed her husband's career. Like, he is now everybody's coming out about what a piece of shit Ryan Reynolds is. Like, we thought we had almost perfection. We're not talking Jesus Christ perfection, but we're talking about an incredibly good-looking guy, super shredded, with ugly people comedic timing. And it turns out he's a piece of shit. Right? I mean, maybe you get that big, it's hard not to be. Maybe. I don't know. Right?
I think he's a billionaire. I think he's worth billions.
Yeah, he's got Mint Mobile. He owns a soccer team. He's doing all this stuff, you know. So
we love Mint Mobile.
We do love Mint Mobile. Mint Mobile is a great sponsor of this show. Their owner might be a little shady. Who knows? We don't care. We do care. We do care because we love the people. We want people to be nice. But the reason I bring that up is like the reaction of Hollywood to a white adult female actress feeling uncomfortable versus pedophilia is very telling, right?
Yeah.
I have a joke about how I had a girlfriend who had a consensual, non-consensual fantasy, and I asked her in college. I go, "What's your fantasy?" She goes, I have a rape fantasy." And I go, "Well, you're gonna have to sign some documents because it sounds like your fantasy ends with me in jail, right?" And I turn it into a joke. If I put that out, there's a chance I could get in trouble. Yet there's these comedians out there constantly doing pedophile jokes, kiddie porn jokes, and nobody says anything. Yeah. It's crazy, right? So I just think it's very interesting, and and then I want to get into the next thing I wanted to talk to you about, and this is that I wonder, buddy, William, if any of this stuff is ever naturally occurring. Now, I'm not saying that there isn't naturally people who murder people. Like, I think that happens more than, we would like to believe, but I think it happens a lot. But, like, there seems to be this hidden hand that kind of influences culture. And some of it is drug culture, some of it is sex culture, some of it is violence culture, some of it is murder culture, some of it is serial killer culture. And the question becomes, like, would that happen naturally if there wasn't the CIA, the FBI, military intelligence, and all that stuff? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think that it's really like the world is run by Satanists, so Luciferian values, and they're going to support and finance all these transgender things and all this stuff to break down society for whatever their purposes are. So I think that that's just their moral outlook. So I think that it wouldn't be as prominent as it is now without the support of people like that. Like, I think Soros, Gates, a lot of these characters are very dark actors, Masons, and probably even post-Masons and stuff like that. Obama too is another kind of person almost in the vein of Newsom and Trudeau, who's kind of brought up.
Charismatic.
Yeah, charismatic. He's not very smart. He has to talk off a teleprompter. He can't talk extemporaneously. And I think his actual background, his college career is fake. Like, nobody ever saw him at Columbia. So, and he was kind of there was this aspect of privilege.
Where have we heard that?
Yeah, a lot of places, but like, he just became the editor.
No. I'm not saying what you're saying is.
So
we've
he
heard
didn't
it a lot.
earn it. So he's all the stuff he didn't earn. So I think he's a front to, like, somebody else smarter than him is doing most of his decision making.
What I meant by William, what I meant by where we heard that before, that's George Bush Jr.'s military experience, where it's like nobody remembers him on the base ever during when he said he was in the military. And you even go to his father, right? His father, the famously getting shot down where they're like carrying him. He's crawling back up onto the giant warship. And like his story changed like 5 different times about what happened. Like, people really question whether that was. So your dad is funding the other side, but you're going to send your son in to go to battle? Come on, dude. None
of those guys ever risked themselves. Gore, all those guys. Gore in Vietnam was fake. But yeah, George Bush, supposedly he wasn't AWOL in the military. Have you ever heard the rumor that was published on a newspaper that George Bush was in a satanic cult south of the Rio Grande?
Oh God, please tell me this.
There was a report that he was part of there, just like Matamoros. I don't know if you've heard the name of Adolfo Constanzo. He was hardcore, like a true brujo. Like,
you're talking about the Santeria where they found they would make necklaces out of the
correct. Yeah. They called them narcos satanicos, but actually the reason that Costanzo, who was really a Cuban from Miami, his mom was into witchcraft. It was brujeria, and also Palo Mayombe was really kind of the African element with these gods. I mean, the guy was really crazy. He would go in at night and go into cemeteries and try to commune with dead spirits and then enlist them into his witch army. Like, it's really crazy. Like, this is all true. But the reason that he went to this area of Mexico is that there a lot of people weren't there. He was actually in Mexico City, but he went there because there were other satanic groups there. And supposedly George Bush spent a year there. I'll have to find this article. It's in the Wayback Machine. But spent a year there, and then suddenly this whole cult gets wiped out, like 15 dead people, like literally done. And then George Bush gets out and then becomes the governor of Texas, and the only person that he pardons, I mean, it's a kill factory in Texas. If you get the death penalty, you're going to get killed. But the only person that he lets out is another serial killer, right? Or a serial killer.
What?
His name. Yeah, you never heard that?
No.
The only guy he pardoned was the associate of
What if?
Have you've never heard that story?
No, I would love to hear. What if George Bush's silly goose kind of crazy
Henry Lee
drunk?
Lucas was his name.
What was his name?
That's the only guy George Bush ever pardoned was Henry Lee Lucas. And then here's another kicker. If you want to kind of get some kind of semi-validation for this story about Bush south of the border, you can listen to a band named Ministry, because they wrote an album called Rio Grande Blood, which actually got nominated for a Grammy Award.
Yeah, I know. I know Ministry. They wrote a song about it.
Yes, it's called Rio Grande Blood.
Oh my God!
You should play it. Pull it up on YouTube. It's about this story about Bush and Rio Grande, because it takes one to know one, because they understand Crowley. They did a song called Psalm 69.
Rio Grande what? Which is Blood?
Blood.
Rio Grande or River Grande?
Rio Grande. So RIO space GRANDE space blood.
Them
play that song. Play
Misery.
that song.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah, play it.
George W. Bush.
Play it.
Adopted sophisticated terrorist tactics, and I'm a dangerous man.
You can't hear it.
Can you not hear it?
I can hear it.
I want to drain the coal resources in America and foreign sources of crude oil. I am a weapon of mass destruction. I'm a brutal dictator. And I'm evil.
Yeah, great. Really, it takes one to know one. There's a lot of truth in that album, believe it or not, I think. But you had George Bush Jr. right there. I think it was January 9th for the memorial for Carter, right? Carter at the National Cathedral. That was I call it a vampire ball, because it was just a huge group of, other than Trump, monsters, like literal ghouls and monsters that were there. It was the Clintons. It was Obama. It was George Bush Jr. It was, I mean, just the host of them all were there.
It's crazy to me because we do go, George Bush wasn't a bad guy. It was Cheney. And we put all of it on Cheney, and we act like George Bush was just this placeholder to get Cheney into the White House. But then you start hearing all this crazy shit, and you're like, maybe this guy was a psychopath. You know, like, there's something.
He's three generations of skull and bones. Like, this is like, his dad is involved in so much. It's incredible. He was trained from the very beginning. This is another kind of like Trudeau, Obama, Newsom person. He was meant to fulfill these things. And all that stuff on 9/11, I think we did a show on that, was all occultism.
Yeah.
Who's running the show? George Bush Jr. right there. So.
I totally agree with that too. And I do believe that, because, when I push back on Jew world order, what I say is like they just wear these Abrahamic religions as masks so they can walk amongst us, when in reality, the real stuff they worship is the occult, is the dark, dark, dark occult. That's what they worship. That's what's important to them. And they use the Abrahamic religion so we don't freak out on them going, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like you're into this dark, dark, dark witchcraft. And it totally makes sense. And Obama, just like, I mean, what's so funny, William? If you want to go, who do you think the next Obama is? I'm going to tell you it's David Hogg. Like, look at David Hogg and what they're doing with that guy.
No, so that speech they set him up with was just like the Obama speech, that kicked his career off at the DNC.
Right, that's right.
He's absolute garbage. He lied about being at the shooting. He gets caught lying about it. He gets caught left and right. And sometimes I wonder if that's nonlinear warfare, so they put it out so we all fight with each other. And then he couldn't even get into UCLA, and he got called into Harvard. It's so obvious that they're setting him up. And, regardless of what you think of him, he could be seen as a good-looking guy, right?
But he has an ounce, like not even a fraction of the charisma of Obama.
Yeah.
Like, he's not. If they think he can beat that guy, I just don't see it. I do agree with you that they're setting him up.
Nothing about him is authentic.
No.
His dad was FBI.
He rings hollow, too.
He rings really hollow.
So
he's already gotten busted in a scandal where he's taking 6 figures from a GMO.
Yeah.
How much
Look at Clinton. Look at Clinton's life. You want to talk about a charmed life?
Yeah.
Like some strange guy from the Boondocks from Arkansas, from Little Rock, somehow goes all the way to Rhodes Scholar, gets into Georgetown, right? Famously, kind of a stepping stone to working in the diplomatic
Jesuits,
corps,
for sure.
and then to Yale Law School, and messing up the entire time, like all kinds of stories of rapes and stuff like that, like going on. Like I've talked to Juanita Broderick, all this stuff, like, and still kind of keeps going. So, I'm telling you, when that whole Clinton thing, Carter death is really something else because it takes place in a church, or ostensibly a church, like it's the Memorial Church of D.C., and you just have guys with dead bodies all around them, all there.
Dude.
Clinton, Bush, millions of people by Bush. Obama sacked what? Libya, Yemen, drone strike 5,000 people casually. Tafari Campbell, SFK death too, right? It goes on and on. It's crazy. You have to watch. You should go back and watch it. It's really important because Melania cannot control herself. She's freaked out. These are the people who tried to grease and blow her. Literally, would have caused the Civil War. Tried to blow off her husband's head on July 13th in Butler, Pennsylvania. All the chess pieces were on the board there too, by the way, because Jill was in Pittsburgh, and then Kamala and her squad was in Pennsylvania. So all their retinue is in place to facilitate the blowing off of Trump's head, and really could have caused a civil war and mass death. Well, so all those guys are there, right there, all together under one roof in a Christian church. It's like The Godfather. And she's freaked out. You got to see Melania. She cannot control herself. She just like she's in a ghost, like a freaking like hellscape or some kind of like haunted house.
Isn't that a famous thing that Barron Trump said to Trump? I know you tried to kill my father.
He said it to Biden, yeah. I think he said something to him, and Biden, or the fake Biden, whoever that Biden is. I think Biden's dead. I think he actually is in a coma or something's going on. He's either dead or in a coma, or not. Like he comes in and out of consciousness or something. So I think they have multiple doubles of that guy.
I think you're right. I think there are.
Sam, you could see that one where they roll out this guy. He's like 6'4". They roll him out of the White House. And they deliberately plant him in the front because he's so tall and his legs are so much longer than the real Biden. And he's too lucid. Like, certain things, it's weird. It's like, okay, this guy can barely finish a sentence. And then this guy rolls out and he starts talking normal. It's fake. It's unbelievable. The whole Biden administration was like that. How about
Black Biden, where there was a guy in a mask and then under it was so obviously a black guy? And you're like, what?
Nothing would surprise me. Did you ever see the one clip where he's rubbing the mask in the back of his head?
Yeah.
And it's clearly latex.
Yeah.
It's just not believable. They can just gaslight you and present this fiction to people, and they just wouldn't believe it.
Again,
they're
get you not to believe your eyes, your ears, or the wisdom of your experience. Now, you want to come on and talk a little bit of Catcher in the Rye. Like, what do you want to talk about?
I've been doing some recent work on Catcher in the Rye. So this book came out in 1951, after World War II, kind of the beginnings of the Cold War. And I did some work on it because somebody was like debating with me online about Chapman, who supposedly killed John Lennon in December of 1979, I believe it is, or 1980. And they said like, oh, this book didn't have influence on Chapman. So I did some research. This is in April of 2024. And clearly Chapman has, like, he's very obsessed with this book. He carries it around with him. He buys it the day of the killing of Lennon. But he also carries it in court. He makes all these weird pronouncements. And then I was kind of doing then all this stuff with around the killing of Trump happened, right? So, like, this stuff I just mentioned. Crooks, who I don't even know if it's the real guy. Somebody who got shot in Butler. And then Ruth came from Oahu, where literally about 4 or 5 miles where Chapman was from, and had the same kind of MO. Chapman, if you don't know the whole story, he kept flying from Hawaii to New York. He was there 2 months before the shooting in New York, and then he flew back. So he had a lousy, like, that's not nice of it to work. He worked as a janitor, so he had all this extra money somehow, and he was flying around on expensive planes from Oahu, and he worked in supposedly a janitor for a hospital, which there's more to that story. But anyway, this Ruth guy, who was the second, if you remember, the second attempted Trump assassin who tried to take a shot at Trump on the golf course.
He was in the Ukraine, had pink hair.
Right. Yeah, the whole bit. So kind of acting strange, older guy, but also kind of fit the kind of Chapman profile of like popping up in strange places. So that happened. It led me to kind of really want to study the book in itself. So I really studied The Catcher in the Rye, and it kind of blew me away. Like, this book is so full of like programming and psychological states that it made me think about these other shooters. So then I've been doing shows on Catchers in the Rye. So it's been Chapman, Hinckley. So the Chapman attempted killing of Lennon. Well, they say he killed Lennon. I think he was like Oswald. He was just there on the site. So he supposedly shot Lennon in December, and then Hinckley tried to kill Reagan, if you remember, 3 months later in D.C. And something very profound happened. Maybe a whole show, but I have a bunch of slides on it. I don't know how much time you have.
Yeah,
but
we can do it.
You want to do it? All right.
Yeah. Real quick, as you look that up, Hinckley was the first person to be able to use insanity as a plea. And then the guy who shot Lennon tried to use it as well, and they didn't let him use it. And the question goes, why does Hinckley get to do it? Oh, because he's a Bush.
Wow. Yeah. Well, the other thing is that it's very fortunate, and there's weird ties between Chapman and Sirhan. So it's actually kind of timely, considering that RFK Jr. is now a member of the Bush administration, right? But it's crazy. This whole Catcher in the Rye, there's a lot going on with this whole book, but it's basically, just for people who may not have read it in a while, it's 65 million copies of this book were sold worldwide.
Wow.
So literally about 1 million copies a year. And it's almost required reading in public schools.
Yeah.
And it's very strange in the sense when you really read it with a critical eye, like I'm 56, so I kind of know a little bit about mind control. I can't say I'm an expert, but like this book has repetition. It talks about things that are much more sophisticated. The story of the book is this guy, Holden Caulfield. And I know you've had Atwell on the show. So Atwell's talked about masonry and pedophilia in this, which he senses masonry. I didn't see any of that. But pedophilia is definitely a subject in this book, and kind of like sexual abuse. Holden Caulfield, 16. Call, in kind of old kind of history, a call is like when a baby is born. If it has a piece of the placenta over the face, it's the call over the face. It's considered that baby is special, so it's a privileged kind of child with second sight. So I don't think the name, and the names in the book are not accidental. There's all kinds of different names, but the call is kind of like making this anti-hero. There's nothing redeemable about Holden Caulfield, in my opinion. But the field is references, it's kind of a tie-in, and the red is a tie-in. The red of the cover is a tie-in into the narrative, which is about the Catcher and the Rye. So the rye is the, like wheat, right? So rye is the grain. And the catcher is something that Holden Caulfield wants to be, redeem himself by saving children. So it's kind of a weird focus on children and kind of saving children from the culture. Basically, he has this vision in his mind that he's going to save children from falling off the cliff. He's going to be a catcher. But it's from a misreading of a poem by Burns about somebody going through the rye. So the catcher is not in this Burns poem. And it's part of Holden Caulfield's inability to correctly perceive the external world, which is kind of a trait of schizophrenia. So he almost is like a schizophrenic. But there's a lot going on in this book because of so many of these killers, of these famous people, leading up to today. So, and at the end of the book, it goes, you follow Caulfield from his fourth expulsion from a private privilege school. He's a rich kid. It follows him going back to New York City to Central Park and being with his sister Phoebe and going to the carousel in Central Park, which is the Catcher in the Rye. You see this cover, the second cover here, if you're watching this. That's the carousel. Well, when Mangione, the healthcare shooter, killed that guy, they found some of his stuff at the carousel in Central Park. Ooh. And you'll see that in the slides.
Oh, my God. Now
Yeah,
let me
no,
ask you something before
it's
we move
incredible.
forward.
No, this is really incredible stuff.
Let me ask you something before we move forward. Is there anything about the author that stands out?
Yes, he's a member of Intel. So he was in Army intelligence in World War II.
Whoa.
Yeah, and he was kind of, I mean, he had a pedophile relationship with a 14-year-old. This is known because the girl talked about it today. You can see her online. He was 32 at the time, but this is the publication of this book. He was very young. Like, this is a sophisticated, psychologically sophisticated book, and I'll explain that. But he was in a relationship with a young girl. Supposedly, they didn't, have Congress with each other until she was of age. That's the story they're telling. I'm not sure I believe that, but it's a very inappropriate relationship, and it actually apes kind of the relationship of Holden, who's 16, with his 10-year-old sister, Phoebe, right? So it's kind of like pretty crazy. But the fact that there's like this depersonalization element of Holden Caulfield. Everybody's phony and the world is fake. So like he depersonalizes all these other things. He's a chain smoker, and there's weird references to dissociative states in this book. And this is 3 years after Kinsey's The Sex Life of an American Male, which was total Rockefeller propaganda. I don't even think that's my opinion. Like, it's been discredited by very valid, like his scientific, so-called quote scientific unquote research has not been validated by third parties. But so this book actually adds on to that, this Kinsey idea where everybody's gay and everything like that. This whole
Kinsley
culture
is a
creation.
piece of shit. There's a couple people I like to go back in time and fight. Kinsley is one of them.
Kinsey, yeah. Crowley connection too. So he tried to get Crowley's diaries, and
oh my god,
yeah. So he went to with Kenneth Anger, who's kind of a Crowley acolyte, that they went to Sicily to the Temple of Thelema. And there's pictures of him at the Temple of Thelema, of all places. So Kinsey has this occult connection that's undeniable. Yeah. Now, it's in Children of the Beast, my book, Children of the Beast. So this dissociative states, this guy, Holden 16, but he's in the care of a psychiatrist, right, already. So he's troubled. And there's these repetitive phrases that are aped by, like, Sirhan. So you see this kind of, like, this narrative is they're somebody included, Salinger or somebody else, included very profound kind of mind control scripts in this book. It's off the charts, and we'll get to other stuff. But at page 19 of this book, right at the beginning, he repeats, "You will, you will, you will." And he also there's hints of like sexual abuse and schizophrenia. He's always asking where the ducks go in Central Park. Like, where do the ducks go when it gets cold? So he doesn't understand that ducks fly south for the winter or whatever, right? He doesn't get it. He keeps repeating this. So he doesn't understand. And this red hat that you'll see in this cover, like, in a benign way, you look at that, it's just a guy, chain smoker. He's a chain smoker. There's the ducks. But that red hat, he refers to it as his human hunting hat. So that's a hat that he goes hunting humans with. And he repeats this all throughout the book.
Oh my God.
I wear a people shooting hat. I shoot people with this hat. Repetitive phrases. Like Salinger, whoever wrote this book, Intel or something, that we're all exposed to at a very early age. Like, most people are given this in high school. Get this. So that's it. He does things. He breaks windows. He doesn't know what he's doing. What's that?
Do you think it has triggers in it? Like,
yes.
Psychological triggers that if you are wired a certain way, it will activate?
Yes, I do.
Whoa!
I think it's really that profound. Yeah, I think it's it's almost. I in a most recent interview, I said it's almost like if you saw that movie, The Evil Dead, where that book, they have the book and he opens it up and all kinds of bad stuff happen. Yeah. I think this book is like that. It's getting worse. I'm just doing like a cursory overview. He repeats, "I am a madman," over and over. So he's like, "I am a madman. I am a madman. God knows I'm a madman." He's fascinated and scared by blood. He talks about getting the axe. So everything that happens to him is violent. Like, there's this, my dad is going to kill you, or dad's going to kill you. So these strong, very strong, violent words are just put through this. They mention a trance. He's able to put the mother of one of his schoolmates' mothers in a trance through lies. So he literally says, I've got her in a trance. So these kind of different, like, mind control psychological states are repeated through this. He wants a rat, always a rat. He capable of lying for hours. The guy has no redeeming characteristics. And through this, almost every kind of sexual perversion in a kind of oblique way is included in this book. So you've got sadism, voyeurism, transvitism, pedophilia, all kinds of different psychological states, lonesomeness, depression, insomnia, almost everything that he has, dissociation. And he uses fake names. He has these fake kind of like personas. In his mind, he's a sex maniac. He talks about that. He says a woman's body is a violin. So like really kind of dark stuff, like you would do this. But one of the kickers of this book that I found interesting upon rereading it is its anti-Christian motif. So he thinks that all of the apostles are chumps. So he doesn't believe that. He asks the question whether Judas, the betrayer of Christ, is going to hell. And the only person he has sympathy for in the Bible is Legion, right? So if you remember the story of Christ in the wilderness, there's somebody who cannot be tied up or chained, and Christ relieves him or exorcises him, really. Yeah. And these demons come out of him and go into the pigs, and the pigs go into the water and drown themselves. That's who Holden Caulfield empathizes with, is this demon-possessed character. And we can, it's basically, it's crazy. So that's part of it. He's suicidal. He hates everything. He goes to a place called the Wicker Bar. So, like, if you know the Wicker Man, it's like a reference to human sacrifice.
Oh, my God.
And they kind of repeat this kind of Kinsey stuff. Half of married guys were gay. He runs into a guy named Luce. And Luce is kind of a stand-in for Henry Luce, the head of, like, Time Life. I think he was also a bonesman, skull and bonesman. And that's the kind of environment that Holden Caulfield grows up in. He's thinking about trying to go to Ivy League colleges. He'll never get in there. But he's in all these prep schools, prep for Ivy League, right? He's a chain smoker and a pyromaniac. And he has this weird kind of relationship with his sister, Phoebe, 10 years old. He touches her and dances with her. And they kind of have an adult relationship. Oh. And then he's also like getting hit on by his professor Antolini, who tries to hit on him. And Holden Caulfield says, I always start to get sweaty when this happens to me, and it's happened to me like 10 times. Oh. So like he's in this environment of pedophilia and stuff.
Oh like my God.
Yeah, no, it's crazy.
It is crazy.
You might know, or I might be going too forward, but why are they making us read this in high school?
Like, why are they? That's a great question.
There's the Mockingbird, Odyssey. There's some things that I understand. Shakespeare, I understand why we got to read that shit. But why? Like, another thing about why is this being asked to be read?
I think they're trying to. I think for sinister objectives. I don't think that this is a nihilistic book from 51, and I think that this is kind of a culture creation, and also I think it's to degrade the culture. Kind of like what we were talking about earlier, Sam, about getting stuff into the public mind. And we'll get into whose favorite book this is, right? Which I think is very telling.
If it's
in
Tom
these
Segura,
slides.
I'm going to lose.
We're going to find out who so this is what Salinger looks like.
77, dude. 77. That's an interesting number right there.
Sure is, yeah. 77 names of the devil, right?
77 is the name of the devil?
Yeah, there's 77 names of the devil in the Satanic Handbook.
Really?
Yeah.
My buddy John Lee is going to love that. Holy shit.
It also ties into kind of Babylon, the Beast in Babylon, and all the stuff. So these are the two guys who tried to do these massive, like the incredible assassinations, both associated with Catcher in the Rye, right? So that's Chapman and Hinckley, both making this weird same gesture. And Hinckley had this, he was not only Catcher in the Rye, but he was obsessed with the film Taxi Driver, right?
I love that film.
And Taxi Driver kind of apes the narrative of Catcher in the Rye.
Whoa, really?
So Travis Bickle, played by De Niro, you're looking at me, all that stuff and the guns and stuff. It's very similar to Holden Caulfield in New York City, of all places, right? And so Bickle was based on another killer named Arthur Bremer, who has a really interesting history, who tried to kill George Wallace, an important political figure very close to this. But so the Bremer story, Bremer influences Bickle. Bickle influences the common culture, much like Catcher in the Rye and Holden Caulfield, who, if you look at the analysis of Holden Caulfield in the literary critiques, he's seen as just alienated and disaffected. It's way worse than that. The guy is out of his mind. And at the end of the book, it actually ends with Holden Caulfield, chapter 26. He's in a mental institution. I mean, there's no question about it. So you're actually watching a guy degrade into insanity, actually, in that. So there's Hinckley. This is actually recent. This was November
so
2024.
crazy.
They're saying John Hinckley Jr. asked by ex-users to assassinate Donald Trump.
I mean, people are just coming out and saying it. It's so crazy to me. I've never seen that before.
I mean, they did more than say it, didn't they? I mean,
they tried.
If you believe what happened.
So anyway, so then this story, like I said, it apes the story. Jodie Foster's 12, right?
Yeah.
Phoebe in the book is 10. So Bickle is trying to save Foster from the pimp, right? So this is kind of, and she's very I think that this experience, like Jodie Foster was traumatized by it. So there's Travis Bickle.
And I'm sorry, but Robert De Niro has very dark history associated with pedophilia. Multiple times, whether it's Roman Polanski, whether it's a European child sex trafficking escort ring, his name has been associated with it over and over and over again.
Right. So these guys are similar. There's kind of like this element of suicide. They're suicidal. So both Hinckley and Before the Axe and Chapman are suicidal. And this is from the president is going to be shot. And this kind of ties into Chapman, which we'll find. But I'll read from the president's been shot. Hinckley identified with Travis and began to act like him after he'd seen the film 15 times. He bought the same clothes, ate the same foods, drank the same liquors, invented a girlfriend just like had Bickle. So he took on this persona of Travis Bickle from Taxi Driver. And here's another attachment to the Catcher in the Rye that a lot of people don't know about. Maybe in Hollywood you would, but this is Robert John Bardo. He killed Rebecca Schaefer.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys remember this story.
Yeah, that's so sad.
Okay. So this is it. So this is the story of what happened. Police directed to evidence an actress's death. Saw Schaefer's assailant fleeing the scene in a yellow shirt, jeans, and floppy scandals. Yellow, like the yellow color of Catcher in the Rye. Interesting. When he was arrested in Tucson, he was wearing a t-shirt, jeans, and sandals. A red paperback copy of The Catcher in the Rye was found on the roof of the Beverly Palms Rehabilitation Center on Beverly Boulevard. Bardo, indicated he threw a red-covered paperback book entitled The Catcher in the Rye in the alley while he was running. The discovery of the book harked back to 1981 shooting of former Beatle John Lennon by one-time mental patient Mark David Chapman. After the obsessed fan shot the rock singer, he calmly took a copy of the J.D. Salinger novel and was reading it when police arrived. And this is just an article from the time where you see them commenting about Hinckley and Chapman in the same page, like literally talking about their insanity fence and stuff. Catcher in the Rye. Reads Catcher in the Rye passage in court, so we'll get to Chapman. Because Chapman doesn't only just read The Catcher in the Rye, he says he become much like Hinckley became Bickle, Chapman became Caulfield. They don't just identify him; they have.
No, he offered it as his statement to the police when they came to arrest him. Right?
Very good.
He said what?
The police who came to arrest him, he said, "This is my statement," and handed the police officer the book, rather than say anything.
Oh.
Right. So here's Robert Bardo carried The Catcher in the Rye in his assassin's kit to kill actress Rebecca Schaefer. And then, like, some of these other people really loved The Catcher in the Rye. There was, according to one person that we'll see, Lee Harvey Oswald had a copy of it, and JFK, and both Reagan and JFK liked Catcher in the Rye. They really liked the book. But if you read it, it's super disturbing.
Yeah, I remember not liking it, too.
Hughes Killer had a copy of Catcher. How the Catcher in the Rye is linked to JFK, John Lennon, and Rebecca Schaefer. That's an article. Then you have a prominent use of Catcher in the Rye in the film The Shining, right? So the little kid, Danny, has split brain. He clearly has some kind of whatever he's talking to some other entity or something like that. Like he's been traumatized by his dad, I think is really what it is. And I think that the psychological elements of the book are trying to be imparted to the viewer here while she's reading it. This movie came out right around the time of these killings, I think 79 or 80.
Yep.
And then the movie Conspiracy Theory, Mel Gibson, he's always obsessed with Catcher in the Rye. You can watch that. And then this is kind of from Joe Atwell, who you've had on. But I've concluded this because of the hat, also the Freemason stuff that Joe knows, so you can check that out. But also this last sentence. It's alleged that Lee Harvey Oswald had a copy in his apartment and that it was one of his favorite books, although it's disputed. So Grok couldn't really add. But this is like a quote from Catcher in the Rye. This is a people shooting hat. I said, I shoot people in this hat. That's his hat. So it's all over the imagery. So if you know that, like if you don't know the book and see this, you just go, this is a weird kid walking around. But if you know the book, this means he's a human hunter, right? Chain smoker. And then the mind games, I've read this. This is the most recent book about the Lennon assassination, David Whelan. But I did quote from this one, John Lennon, Murder of John Lennon by Fenton Bresler, which has sections on mind control. Like literally knows about it. But it's pretty incredible, like the stuff that happened with Chapman after the shooting. So here's this concept of the trance, which is in the book. When you come to read in detail about how Mark Chapman behaved after Lennon's murder, you will find a striking parallel between the dazed, in a trance-like condition of the two men. Mark remembered more of the actual killing, but otherwise their reactions were almost identical. That's to Sirhan Sirhan. And both Mark Chapman and Sirhan Sirhan had the same doctor. 12 years apart, his name was Diamond. And Chapman was under the care of like six doctors. It's off the charts. Yeah,
who had the same doctor?
Sirhan Sirhan and Mark David Chapman. It's right here.
Oh my God.
There's an odd. This is the footnote. Like for me, this would be the beginning of a chapter, but for this guy, it's a footnote. There's an odd footnote to all this. The principal medical defense witness for Sirhan was Dr. Bernard Diamond of the University of California, one of America's leading psychiatrists who used hypnosis in his work. 13 years later, he would be one of the defense psychiatrists in Mark's case.
Wow, dude.
Same diagnosis.
That's like Dr. Joy, what's his name?
Jolly West.
Jolly West?
Yeah, so then you see this kind of this crazy writing that Sirhan's doing, the three-peat that I just mentioned, you will, you will, you will. It's reflected in Sirhan's writing. Is this crazy writing, Diamond, this Dr. Diamond? He asked Sirhan. Yes, 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 Sirhan wrote. Are you crazy? No, no. Well, why are you writing crazy? Practice, practice, practice. Practice for what? Mind control, mind control, mind control.
Whoa!
It just is crazy. So, Catcher in the Rye, he goes in. This is what he says about holding. He writes in this book, why did I kill Lennon? And he writes, because of this book, and he writes Holden Caulfield. So he's writing it like he's Holden Caulfield. So Chapman becomes Holden Caulfield. The reason I killed John Lennon was to gain prominence, to promote the reading. This is what he says. He becomes an apostle, not just influenced by the book, but an apostle of The Catcher in the Rye. That's what Chapman becomes. And he writes this, okay. After all, this is the book that amazed New York policemen found him quietly reading outside the Dakota when he had thrown down the gun immediately after killing Lennon. The Dakota is where they filmed Rosemary's Baby, if you don't know that.
Oh.
It's right off Central Park, right? So the theme of Central Park in the book in real life is the same. Like, it's crazy. With the inscription inside the cover written by Mark, to Holden Caulfield from Holden Caulfield. This is my statement. In his prison cell awaiting trial, he maintained, quote, the reason I killed John Lennon was to gain prominence, to promote the reading of J.D. Salinger's The Catcher in the Rye.
What?
I'm not saying I'm a messiah or anything like that. If you read the book and if you understand my past, you will see that I am indeed the catcher in the rye of this generation. He's the catcher in the rye, much like Holden Caulfield, so he becomes that.
And which shooter said this?
Chapman.
Wow.
The guy at the very top, yeah, with the gun to his head. But this is something, in this book, they're saying that this Catcher in the Rye was a recent thing by Chapman. It became an obsession but it wasn't always with him. It was clearly a difficult time for him, and now an ominous new factor came into his life. He became interested in The Catcher in the Rye. We do not know why. We do not know if anyone suggested it to him, and if so, who. Catcher is a book that most people read once in their life in their teens. That is it. So why on earth, seemingly out of the blue, did Mark suddenly get so involved in a book that, like most of his generation of young Americans, he had already read before at school nearly 10 years earlier? He was 24 or 25, much like Sirhan, Oswald, and Hinckley. They're all around the same age. Like, you can't write it right. Like, these are commonalities that are unnerving.
Dude, this is crazy.
Yeah, no, it gets crazy. Let's see. So then he goes to court. He gets interested in this book. He's in Hawaii. Catcher in the Rye. He's interested in this. I mean, we can go into detail. But the interesting thing is that he goes to buy this Catcher in the Rye. This is the day of the murder. As he walked the 20 blocks up to the Dakota on West 72nd Street, incongruous amid the lightly dressed New Yorkers with his heavy winter gear, he realized he was missing a prop. He had with him his Double Fantasy album, but something was missing. He halted his progress toward Lennon's selected place of execution and dived into a bookshop to emerge with a red paperback copy of The Catcher in the Rye. On the title page, he wrote, "To Holden Caulfield, from Holden Caulfield," and below that, "This is my statement." So then he's sitting outside the door. He sees his son, Sean Lennon. And then in between times, he opens and read from the book, The Catcher in the Rye. So he's reading it the whole time.
Lennon signs the damn album for the guy, by the way. His killer earlier in the day, he signs his album for him. That's how nice a guy he is. And then the guy comes back and shoots him later.
After he signed it. I could see if he didn't sign it, you go back and shoot him. But after he signed it, you still want to shoot him?
Yeah. Isn't that terrible?
Right. So then this is something he writes to the New York Times. This is a prominent, the most prominent newspaper at the time when there was no internet. So he writes this the February 1st, like 2 months later. Whatever the true explanation, on Sunday the 1st February, Mark sat down and wrote to the New York Times in ballpoint capitals a statement which the newspaper printed 8 days later. Seldom could a book that first appeared in paperback 17 years earlier have had such a glowing sales boost. Quote, "It is my sincere belief that presenting this written statement will not only stimulate the reading of J.D. Salinger's The Catcher in the Rye, but will also help many to understand what has happened. If you were able to view the actual copy of The Catcher in the Rye that was taken from me on the night of December 8th, you would find in it the handwritten words, 'This is my statement.' Unfortunately, I was unable to continue this stance and have since spoken openly with the police, doctors, and others involved in this case. I've now fully realized that this should not have been done, for it removed the emphasis that I wanted to place on the book. My wish is for all of you to someday read The Catcher in the Rye. All of my efforts will now be devoted toward this goal, for this extraordinary book holds many answers. My true hope is that in wanting to find these answers, you will read The Catcher in the Rye. Thank you. Mark David Chapman, The Catcher in the Rye."
So weird, dude. So weird.
Then he appears in court. August 1981. Mark David Chapman, his hair close cropped from an incident with Greg Crimmins' help. He totally shaved his head. Sign of mind control. Walked into Justice Edwards' court under his usual heavy armed guard. He carried with him a copy of The Catcher in the Rye. So he carries with it into court. And then he worked carefully on this page. What about Mark himself? He had spent several hours listening to other people talking about him. What did he have to say in his own defense? Asked if he had anything to say into the court before sentence was pronounced, he had pled guilty. Mark opened his copy of The Catcher in the Rye and read an extract to the hushed part 49. He had worked it out carefully. If you want to check it out for yourself, it is to be found in the 173rd page of the Phantom paperback. Holden Caulfield is talking to his young sister Phoebe, the only person in the world whom he really loves, about what he wants to be when he grows up. She suggests a lawyer like their father, but Holden dismisses lawyers as phonies. What he wants to be is a catcher in the rye, and he explains what he means in this passage cited by Mark David Chapman on his Day of Judgment. Quote, "Anyway, I keep picturing all these little kids playing some game in this big field of rye, and all thousands of little kids. Nobody is around, nobody big, except me, and I'm standing on the edge of some craggy cliff. What I have to do, I have to catch everybody if they start to go over the cliff. They are running and they don't look where they are going. I have to come out from somewhere and catch them. That's all I do all day, just be the catcher in the rye." So that's Mark David Chapman, this kind of apostle of this book, The Catcher in the Rye. And then this is from Rawhide Down. Reagan's Secret Service name was Rawhide, so that's what the title of this book is. but this is page 22. And this is Hinckley on his journey to kill Reagan in D.C., who had become Travis Bickle, right? Just like you said. The 4-day trip was a blur of fast food and brief stops: Las Vegas, Cheyenne, Chicago, Cleveland, Pittsburgh. Traveling through Utah, he awoke from a brief nap to find the bus hurtling through a massive snowstorm. He spent much of the trip slouched in a window seat, watching the scenery stream by or reading The Catcher in the Rye, J.D. Salinger's novel of teenage angst and alienation. He identified with the story's main character, Holden Caulfield, but the book was also special to him because he knew that John Lennon's assassin had pulled it from his pocket and leafed through it moments after gunning down the rock and roll icon. Lennon, who had been killed 3.5 months earlier, was Hinckley's favorite musician. Even so, he sometimes felt he identified more with Lennon's killer than with Lennon himself.
The fuck?
Whose favorite book? George Bush, 41st president, 1995. Who does he say? What book inspired you? There was a marvelous book by Salinger called Catcher in the Rye.
What?
Catcher in the Rye. Who's the beneficiary if Reagan dies, by the way?
Yep.
Who's the chief beneficiary?
Who's related to the killer?
Right. The vice president would have been president. George Bush would have been president. Who else is in there? Bill Gates. You may. This is from 2013. You may notice there aren't many novels on my list this year. It's not that I don't enjoy fiction. I've read The Catcher in the Rye a bunch of times.
Oh my!
It's one of my favorite books ever.
Oh my!
I might want. Not that I will, but I kind of want to reread it to figure out, because I read it when I was a kid. I don't know about. I was worried about other things.
Is it in Spanish?
It's not badly written.
Read it with a critical eye and take notes, because you'll just see, like, if you guys have done so many shows about mind control and stuff like that. Like, you'll be freaked out. Like, this is crazy. Why does he keep saying he's a madman and crazy all the time? I don't even know if he's carrying a Catcher in the Rye book. Anyway, there's Ruth. This guy, like, apes Chapman, very similar. Ooh. I don't even know if Crooks really killed that.
Yeah,
the good girl.
Well, the whole thing is that they had 3 killers within minutes. 3 killers, and the guy who they showed dead on the roof doesn't look like that guy. It looks like the other guy that nobody's seen since.
Yeah, and then he had already graduated. Why would you give us a picture of him in high school? I'm sure there's a picture of him graduated.
Yeah, he's probably trans.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah, there's something weird going on. I don't think that's the same guy.
Man,
who
it's not
was
that
dead on the
herpy on
roof.
his lip either.
It's not that herpy on his lip.
There's like movies
That's
about
your picture
like
for
Catcher in the Rye
For
that
your
overlap.
yearbook, you show up with a giant
I thought he
herpy
had
on
a
your
hair lip. Is that not? Okay.
Go up. You think that's a hair lip?
I thought he had a hair lip, but
That looks like a herpy
I
on
guess
his
you're
lip.
right. Yeah. That's funny. I'd always just thought he had a hair lip. That's funny.
All right, go on. Sorry.
No, you're right.
Yeah, it's okay. There's like movies, The Good Girls, based on has kind of like a Catcher in the Rye theme, but a really good one is this one done in 2007 with Jared Leto, Chapter 27, and you'll see a lot. They repeat phrases from the book, but Catcher in the Rye has 26 chapters, so this is kind of like supposedly a follow-on chapter.
What's hilarious is that it's now brave for very good-looking people to play fat and ugly.
Yeah. He gained weight for that too.
Look how
gained all that
brave
weight.
Jared Leto is. He's playing fat. He's not just completely ripped like Jesus. He's fat now.
You can find it on YouTube, so you can watch it. And on this movie, there's another theme of mind control, because Chapman also has the Wizard of Oz motif. So he had this kind of like almost a setup on his like hotel desk with all of his favorite stuff, and one of them was the Wizard of Oz, right?
And then
Frank
we've
Bounty.
had guests on before talking about the dark image symbolism of the Wizard of Oz.
Yeah,
Kobe Bryant's last Halloween costume with his family was the Wizard of Oz.
Whose last costume?
Kobe Bryant's.
Oh, wow. Crazy. So I just kind of grokked what Holden means, and then also call, like the meaning of a call. Various traditions have viewed it as a sign of spiritual or psychic abilities. In some folklore, the call was believed to bestow second sight or the ability to see into the future. And just weird things. This is Ken Silva, guy I follow, just talking about Ruth and how strange he is. But this is about Mangione. The NYPD claims to have found the CEO shooter's backpack near the Carousel in Central Park, exactly where The Catcher in the Rye ends. A tip for reading: in the chapter where he meets Lutz, it's a stand-in for Henry Luce of Life magazine.
Wow.
December 11th, 2024, yeah. So here's the inspiration for Travis Bickle, Arthur Bremer. Bremer tried to assassinate Wallace in 1972. So it's 8 years before these assassinations. And he had his own diary called An Assassin's Diary, which is a whole nother story because that might be ghost written, so according to some people. But they have all these fake words in here, like not fake words. They have words that aren't present, like for kind of naughty terms. Flitty for homosexuals. Give her the time, sexual intercourse. Phonies, people are fake. Snowing when you're like lying to somebody. So it's kind of, but also I tried to do some research about like how did Salinger get this book published? And there's a book called The Cultural Cold War, CIA in the World of Arts and Letters by Frances Stoner Saunders. And she has an interesting mention about this guy. Like there was this magazine called Encounter, and it says, Spender to open literary pages to new generation of American writers like Saul Bellow, J.D. Salinger, Truman Capote, or Shirley Ann Ground. So, like, he's definitely involved in promoting certain authors.
William, the presentation was great. As always, we love having you on. One more time, can you please tell them where they can find you?
Yeah, William Ramsey Investigates in my podcast. I have over 1,300 episodes on a wide variety of subjects. My Patreon is William Ramsey Investigates. You can watch my micro-budgeted documentaries on there. And then I have 5 books on Amazon if you're interested.